Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversations. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Before you get it, baby, show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Boy, I'm standing right here holding up a sign, shamelessly displaying my state of don't see. What's yours for the taking tonight?
Wake up! I knew you were sleeping. I caught you. Wake up and welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. I know you weren't sleeping. You were just resting your eyes. Welcome. Happy Thursday, everybody. How are you? Well, here we are, one day away from officially rounding out this, what is this? The third week of April. Boy, this year is moving fast. Yes. And we're a week away. Today's Thursday. 1 week from today, well, most of us that are going, some are leaving early. Speaking about the Romania trip, of course. And so we're really excited to be headed over yesterday. Oh, my goodness. Yesterday was that's how good it was. We went to Jefferson Junior High School. And when I say we, Henry Haddis, the 17-year-old junior in high school from right here in my town of Naperville, was in attendance. We awarded him the Power of We Momentum plaque because he wrote the very first letter of what we know will be millions before this is all said and done, which we hope never happens. We hope it continues. Thank you, God. He was there. The news was there. Our USA Youth Ambassador, Sebastian Reina, 14-year-old, was there. He was also interviewed and spoke with the kids. But boy, we collected the letters, the pen pal letters, and just the envelopes themselves. The magic within just permeated, seriously, literally permeated through each and every envelope and just poured into my heart, into my spirit. I am today a different person, a changed man, just because of what I saw in these kids. The ways several of them came up to the front and were sharing why it was so important to them to write these letters. And you guys, let's just, man, our kids, they're the greatest. They really are. Thank God for children, right? So anyway, yeah, in a week, it officially begins. It's officially already begun, but you know what I mean. So there you go. There's our Legacy of Hope tour poster for the documentary, and there is our official flyer. And there's Brian and I, our version of American God. That is actually a huge painting that we got for Christmas from Brian's aunt. Isn't that funny? And the first thing he said, "Hey, why'd you put me in the dress?" I said, "Because I'm holding a pitchfork and she knows I'll use it." Just kidding. But anyway, thank you, Aunt Tia. And our official t-shirt, they are literally being produced as we speak. We ran into a little snafu when we found out how much it was, just like the backpacks, how much it was going to cost to ship them. It was cheaper to just have them printed in Romania. So they were designed by a Romanian designer and they're being printed by a Romanian printer. So I guess that takes care of that, right? So we're off. Listen, there's still time to donate. We're still looking for another $5,000 because these extra costs came up and they weren't in the original budget. But we always leave space. We leave room around whatever we're co-creating so that what is greater than us can pick up where we cannot. So not worried about that. Today, yep, that's who's here. Legs and all. She's here. Amy Joy is going to be in the house today talking about her purpose in this trip. And she is in charge of a full day. I want to show you what she's going to be doing. What we did was we wanted the Team USA. There are certain members on that team that have a personal experience with the people that we're visiting that particular day, because we're not moving around like 2 or 3 different stops in a day. We have one focal point each day that we are presenting. And our very first day, we are visiting a domestic violence shelter. And I've been through a lot of things, but I've not experienced, thank God, domestic violence. But so many in this world have. Amy Joy and her boys having lived that. So take a look at what Amy says is her passion piece for this day one, just next week, next Saturday in Bucharest.
Hello, my name is Amy Joy, and I am so honored and privileged to be part of the Power of We Symposium going to Romania May 5th through 12th. This is a tour of hope. In the 1990s, we learned about 170,000 children in the system in dire situations. It is much better now, and we are going there to celebrate that with them. And there are still so many kids in the system. On Saturday, it's my day. It's my day to provide the food and the things that we're going to do and the games we're going to play with the kids. And the reason it's my day is because on Saturday, we are visiting a shelter of domestic abuse. I have gone through this. I understand this. And what a blessing that I have. I'm so grateful for that experience in my life, for this moment in time where I can go and be a blessing, where I can go and have understanding. And if you'd like to help, if you're in alignment with this at all and you want to share your beautiful energy with this group and with this mission and with this tour of hope, I would love to partner with you. Together, we vibrate higher. And that, my friends, changes the world. Thank you. Mwah!
Good morning.
Morning.
How are you, Amy?
I am so grateful.
Well, so am I, and I'm so grateful you're here. Before I give you a moment to just establish a vibe, just you and the audience, I'll dip out and come back in. I wanted to ask you something. It's been on my spirit, and I always forget to ask you when we're texting back and forth. In that video we just saw, you did miss me that from the very beginning all the way through, you had your hand over your heart. And I found myself simultaneously listening to you, but watching your hand. It really was a powerful move. Talk about that. What were you cognizant that you had your hand there?
No, I didn't notice it until after.
What do you think that was?
I don't think I think I know, because this is from our hearts, period. Like the second you mentioned this project, this beautiful tour of hope, I was in. I just knew I was supposed to be there. And then my German Shepherd's right here. She can feel my emotions. Her name's Maya. Yeah, I'm just blown away. I'm blown away that I get to do this. You know, that it's always been since the. So yeah, I ran for my life 20 years ago with my sons, and I've gone from fear to freedom, and I love my life, and my passion is to liberate people from suffering and to light the path to joy and peace and freedom, and so to be able to help in this way, to be my goal and my hope is that I'm a source of inspiration, you know, that it's not always going to be this tough. And then to be in that, to be given day one, I didn't know this until about a week ago, that I was in charge of day one. And it's so beautiful because I remember that day that I ran very vividly. I remember how I felt. I remember the emotion in my kids. And to be able to be in that shelter with those families in those first moments of running, and then to be on the other side of it, I feel I'm so grateful.
I imagine so. You know, I'll second that emotion by speaking to how I felt when the download came to literally. I had not considered it. I'm not that smart. Seriously. I would have never thought to do that. But the download came and said, you know, there are personal connections and there is healing within these days for certain people on your team, and we're going to show you who those people are and which days that they should have, because there is additional healing that they're not aware of, and they need to be right up front in order to receive it. And so that is how that happened. But what's happened in the week that since you've gotten the news that you were officially leading day one? And when I mean leading, that's what I mean. It's like it's your day. Um, have you thought about what it's going to feel like being inside the catacombs of people who are in hiding? It's an undisclosed location. It's the most secretive day of the entire week. Mike Suvwica, thank you, the leader of Team Romania and our partner on the ground there, he said that even the transportation people will have no idea that they're taking us to a domestic violence shelter. They'll just have the address and will take us there. There's no filming. And I'm glad, because I feel like that's a sacred place and space, and that we need to honor. We don't need to add any fear that something's going to get out or someone's going to find them. So let me give you a moment. You said just now, and that was actually going to be one of my primary questions to kick this interview off, was if you can, I kind of figured you could, but you never know. Do you literally see that day in your mind? Because when I think about you doing it, I can see, when you were describing it just now, I saw you throwing things inside of duffel bags and anything you could get your hands on. And the boys were running around. And at first, it seems, and this is what I saw, like at first they were just playing, thinking you were playing, something fun was going to happen. And then it kind of started dawning, but wait, mommy, how do you go back and tell us what was that definitive word or phrase or feeling or thought or download that said, get out now, right now. Don't pass go. Don't stop. Don't call anybody. Just get your shit and go. Did you question that at all?
No, thankfully. It had been a 2-year process. I was a missionary living in the jungles of Papua New Guinea, and was afraid for my life. And it got to a point where I knew I had to go, but I couldn't leave New Guinea. I couldn't leave the jungle without everyone knowing, because you need a plane and a helicopter to get out. And I couldn't just call a plane and get without everyone knowing.
So the abuser was in the jungle as well.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So I remember the lights of LA, and it was the first time that I was in civilization, so to speak. And I remember talking to God and saying, okay, show me, something's got to give. And it took 2 weeks before we were left alone. And there was something that he did that was just so incredibly mean. And it just was okay now. And so my parents were visiting, God bless them. And I whispered in the hallway, in the dark hallway right before bed, I said, Dad, as soon as we have a chance to run, we're running. And I slept like a baby that night, because the decision was finally made. My poor parents didn't sleep a wink. And the next day, we were waiting for a chance where he would leave us alone. And I didn't know when that would happen, because he rarely left me alone, because he had to be in control. And the universe conspired to help, and he decided to go. And so it was the quietest meal I've ever had. We went to McDonald's for the kids. The kids were only 4 and 2. And we all just sat there in silence, knowing that this was about to happen. And we went back to the house to see if he was gone, and he was gone. And we put the garage doors up, we rolled in, we put the garage doors down, and we went into action. My parents went to the top floor. My sister took the kids to the basement to pack up the toys and to play with the kids so that they wouldn't know there was drama. I sat down and wrote a letter telling him exactly where I was going and why. I had the pastor and the church's blessing. I let them know. My dad had met that morning with the pastor to tell him what was going on. He told us to go. And we tore through the house. Every bag was loaded at the door. Dad would take it into the car. And then we'd back that car out, and we'd get the second car, and we'd load it back up. And I looked everywhere for Tate's blanket. He had a security blanket as a 2-year-old, and I couldn't find it. And right before my ex left, I asked him for the blanket. He said he didn't have it. And I said, I know you have it. Just can we please have it? He's going to need a nap later, and it's gonna be important. And of course, he wouldn't let me have it. And I searched high and low for this blanket. And that was, I got to say, that was one of the hardest things, was leaving, knowing that my baby was going to be going through this without his one thing. Found out later he hid it in the sugar bowl. Anyways, so yeah, we ran and tore down the highway. I think it was 30 minutes to pack everything up, if that.
Oh, wait. He must have had some type of an inkling or a suspicion to hide that like that.
He didn't. I don't think he did. I think I shocked the pants off him. He was just mean.
That was just a mean move.
He was just mean all the time. He was constantly mean. So if he knew that Tate wanted it or knew I needed it, he made sure I didn't have it. So, yeah.
I was just sitting here trying to imagine, have I ever been in a situation where that panicky thing was that strong? And because it would seem to me that the biggest fear during all of the hustle and bustle through the house to get everything packed is that he might show up in the middle of it. And what would happen if he catches us?
Oh, he'd kill us.
So that was what I was. Talk about that piece, because a lot of people think domestic violence, she just getting tired of getting hit in the face or slapped or pushed against the wall, and don't realize that it is a fear for your literal life, not just you, but the children as well. A lot of people have a hard time wrapping their mind around that a father or a husband or a partner, whatever, that an abuser could be so gone that they would literally threaten to kill you and the children. So when did you finally get to exhale? Was it the lights of LA?
No, I hadn't even left yet. I just knew that I had to leave. I just didn't know when I could do it safely. I had to do it in 100% secret. Like, there's no way he could know. No way he could know, or I can't even, that was the only way. And I want to say this, there's a book called Why Does He Do That? Getting into the Minds of Angry and Controlling Men. If you are in this situation or know someone who is, I read this book after the fact, but it made sense of the crazy, and it will help you understand what your people are going through. And yeah, I left textbook, and I didn't know anything about how to leave. No one knew there was even a problem. My parents knew because they watched, and they thought he was going to push me off a cliff. But most people didn't know, because if I talked about problems, things got worse and I got more unsafe. And so, I was 20 minutes down the road and he already knew I was gone. Like, we barely got out of there.
How did he know?
He didn't actually do what he said he was going to do. And I knew that. Like, I couldn't ever believe him. He lied constantly. But I had a pastor waiting at the house for when he arrived and when he read the letter, because for his sake and for our sake. And the pastor called later and he says, I saw and heard things I can't unsee and hear. I am so glad you guys are gone. Wow. So, yeah. So I think when I exhaled we hotel hopped for a few days. I didn't use my phone. I took the battery out and everything, so he couldn't follow us. And I think it was once I got to Canada, where my parents lived, and I went to the courts, and And when I told my story to the lawyer, and my dad heard the full story for the first time, he was so sad.
Yeah.
And so was the lawyer. Like, and the lawyer hears this stuff all the time, And I was shocked that she was shocked. And then it was like this moment of validation, like, I'm not crazy, I'm not being over emotional, it's not that I'm sensitive.
Me.
This is I mean, I knew in my heart I was doing what I needed to do, but what these abusers do so often is make you feel like you're crazy and that your feelings don't matter and that they're not validated. And so yeah, I remember it like it was
Like
yesterday.
it was yesterday. Do you think that's a good thing today on the other side, that it is still so raw, so fresh, so right up front, especially in light of what's happening next Saturday? How do you?
It's all perfect. I mean, I've done so much healing and I'm actually really okay. Like, I'm so grateful to my ex. He's my master teacher. If I had to do it again, I would. And that sounds nuts, but I mean it, because of what I've learned and who I've become and who my kids are.
Couldn't
And
have gotten here any other way.
yeah, like for real, I would say thank you. Like, I just would. And but was it hard? Yeah, it was really hard. It was really hard. And it was literally 20 years ago. Like,
Isn't that something?
my kids are now 24 and 22, and they're amazing humans. And they
Yes.
understand people, and they mentor kids now because they've been there. And I can't even tell you how many women I've helped get into shelters and help with lawyers and over the years. And because I get it, and most people don't get it. Thank God, like, thankfully there's so many of the men in my life. They're like, how is this? I'm like, you'll never understand, because you're a good guy. You're a good guy. And I am not even saying that my ex is a bad guy, because he's just lost. He's forgotten who he is.
Still.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can't tell you how I know, but I know.
So does your ex know where you guys are now? Is the chase over?
Well, he knows where we are. He found out a few years ago. He found the kids online, and the kids blocked him right away because they don't want anything to do with him. They remember, especially my oldest. He remembers everything, and he was 4. He remembers things I don't remember. So yeah, here's the deal. I'm protected. Universe has me.
Yeah.
And if I was to go, that would be fine too, because I just keep going. My spirit doesn't end.
Yeah.
And I did my job. I raised my kids. I kept them alive. Literally, that was my goal, was to keep them alive.
Let me ask you, because you're talking about the kids right now and tying this into next Saturday.
Yeah.
This is a two-part question. So first thing is, have you ever been like in just public or just minding your own business, doing your own thing, and you spot a woman or man, someone with their children or by themselves, and somehow
Yep. I think Lauren's frozen.
Yeah, I'm back now.
Okay.
Where like a secret handshake or something that identifies like I know what you're going through. That look, have you ever seen that look in someone's eyes and they're trapped?
Yeah. Many times, actually. I used to work in sales, and I had a new couple in front of me every morning. And I remember this one specific time where he was terrible. Like, I just knew. And he went to the bathroom, and as soon as he was out of sight, I leaned over and I said, honey, are you okay? And she just looked at me. No, I'm like, really, are you okay? And she says, yeah. And I said, well, I want you to know that you deserve to be cherished, And I wish someone would have looked at me in the eyes and asked this question, because it might have woken me up sooner. It might have woken me up sooner. And she was super grateful. And I said, "Are you safe?" And she says, "Yes." And I said, "Okay, well, I'm here for you if you need anything." And then he was back, right? So, yeah, so many times. And they're always like shocked that I can
Was
see
that
it.
a trigger? Was in the early years when you would spot something? Or what about if you saw a guy that that looked kind of like your ex? Did you ever, like, like when people get a new car and
Yes.
it's a different color?
No, I know the
Something-
moment. I know the moment. I was in the sales room and this guy walks in, and I about jumped over the counter and hit on the other side. And one time there was a name came in and it was the same name, and I was like like I was yeah.
Like a panic
In the
attack.
beginning, 20 years ago, yeah, absolutely freaking lutely. I no, it's taken intent and intention and a lot of work to remove all the trauma. It was years, 8 years of abuse, 7.5 years,
Sure.
and then literally running with the kids into a foreign country, not knowing the language. Yeah,
Not
my
knowing
grandparents
anything.
passed away not knowing where I lived. I mean, like
What's
I,
that?
my grandparents passed away not even knowing where I was. Like my cousins, uncles, and aunts, no one knew where I was for
Right,
12
your whole family.
years.
But today, uh,
But now, yeah, everyone knows. Yeah,
yeah, well, and your parents and your brother are all
they all
there
live
with
with
you.
me. I
Yes,
moved them all down here, and
yes,
yeah,
that's
it's
awesome.
beautiful.
So
Yeah, we're good.
let's talk about this piece, which is part two of the original two-part question. How do you what I have a feeling that you're going to have some private conversations, of course, with some of the women or that are in the shelter next Saturday. And I'm hoping that a big piece of it will be because mothers are they think about their children first, and that's why they're there. That's how they got there.
Yeah,
Because a lot of women who don't have kids stay
yeah.
because it's just
True.
them.
I would
It's
have.
easier to stay. Right. So what about this piece of how you heal the children while you're trying to watch over your shoulder and begin a new life for you and the children? But because the kids have tons of questions. And I would imagine you feel like you're having to lie about things for their own safety and mental health and well-being. How difficult is that, if you can even put it into a package, for a person to do both of these things simultaneously, taking care of themselves, trying to move out of that fear place, but still fiercely protecting the children and being honest with them? How did you find your way through that? And do you feel you can help any of these people with that piece next Saturday?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's really hard. And when you're in that space, most people, I certainly wasn't okay. I wasn't okay. I was in survival. And when you're in survival, you can't think past survival. So you're not, the healing comes later. I think the healing comes later. The conscious, more consciousness comes later. But I got help. I got help and I got help and I got more help. And I got mentors. I literally hired mentors to be in my kids' lives. And one specifically, his name is Josh. And he is basically my kid's dad. And I literally paid for counseling for all of us individually every week for 6 years. 6 years.
Wow.
And it changed our lives. It changed our lives. And that's what I would do. I would get help. You can't do it all. It takes a village. And thankfully, because I was alone here at first when I moved to Mexico, and so it was finding people, asking God to help me find people that I could surround my kids and myself with that would help us, And so I think that's one of the things I did right, and I did well. And my kids would tell you that's the best thing that we did was get help, because you can't do it alone. It's
Right.
really hard to do it alone.
Right.
It's unnecessary to do it alone. This world is full of beautiful people.
That's right. That's the law of attraction. Thank God for that. Hey,
Yeah.
let's take a look. I've on the clip. I haven't previewed it, but I just wanted to see and get your opinion on these 9 warning signs that Robin McGraw, Dr. Phil's wife, discusses. 9 warning signs of an abusive relationship, because sometimes it's right underneath the noses of people and they're in denial for whatever reason. So I thought we might get some good content out of these 9 warning signs. So let's take a look.
This is what I call a role model, by the way. And Robin is one of the leaders in the fight against domestic violence in America and actually worldwide. She has a foundation, When Georgia Smiled, that's dedicated to the fight against domestic violence. She has an Aspire initiative that's used in schools, the Aspire app. It's been recognized on Capitol Hill on the floor of the United Nations as one of the most meaningful apps in the fight against domestic violence. What do you think about what she's saying?
Oh, wow. I am appalled at what she's saying and very disappointed, because she is completely wrong in every way. So in my Aspire initiative, there are 9 warning signs that tell you if you are in an abusive relationship. And this is what all young women and men should know. If you are in a relationship and it's quick involvement, warning sign.
Too possessive, too quick.
Too possessive, too in love, too quick. Extreme jealousy. If he doesn't want you with anyone else but him, warning sign. Controlling behavior, threats of violence, very bad sign. Abrupt mood changes, verbal attacks. If he's with you and he starts breaking objects around you, scaring you like that, really bad sign. If he has the use of force in that argument.
Wait, is that on the screen? Can you see that?
Yeah, it is on the screen. Good job.
I don't want that on there. Hold on.
If there's history of violence or battering in your relationship, or violence or battering,
I don't want them on there.
Or there's violence or battering.
Let's go
in that
back.
Argument.
Well, look through there.
Yeah, I got it.
How many of those?
All of them.
That? Oh, all of them.
Well, except for 9. I don't know about 9. I don't know.
You don't know if there was a past history.
We were young. I was
okay.
Only 22 years old.
Let's see. She's got about 12 seconds left. Let's hear what she wraps with.
Violence or battering in your relationship, or there's a history in other relationships. He's an abuser. So all of those signs tells you you are in an abusive relationship.
Okay. That was my angel number up there, 444.
I saw it too, and I just said thank you.
Yes. So 8 out of 9.
Yeah.
So when I saw you resonating with the list, and I hear that these abusers / narcissists are quite clever. And so it's not as simple and clear cut as that list, because does it necessarily go in that order?
No, they're professionals. So my ex's diagnosis is psychopathic narcissistic personality disorder.
Psychopathic.
And 3 different psychologists or psychiatrists, I forget have in different states.
Sure.
After one meeting, knew that
he fit the profile.
Oh, apparently they all said the exact same thing in the exact same order.
You know what I was just thinking, Amy? Might be a road to help more people is, how like when a sex offender has to register.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that if a person was convicted of domestic violence, that they would have to register, so that if you were going to date a person, you could see what they were capable of, to pull that mask off to give heads up because they are so clever. It's just like a sex trafficker, that sort of thing. Because I don't know what the numbers are. Maybe you can help us with that. But I would assume that it is an astronomical number of women and children who literally lose their lives yearly.
Yeah.
Due to
I know that the average woman leaves 8 times before they're either killed or they leave for good. 8 times. This is oh, there's so much I want to say.
You think that's because they get found or they go back willingly?
It's because of the slow descent into hell. So he didn't hit me until 7.5 years into our relationship. He was smart enough not to do that, because that's a line in the sand that most people have, that they're not going to handle that, right? But it was the mental and emotional abuse that was I'd rather get hit any day than have the mind, I try not to swear, the mind messing up, right?
Yeah.
Messing with my mind. No. So what happens is they keep you, they're jealous. They keep you to themselves, right? I hardly went anywhere without him around. He was always there. And he would make it about, oh, I love you. No, it had nothing to do with that. It's like, you're mine. You're mine. And now you have to do what I say. And then he used the Bible to back it up. Bible says submit. Bible says submit, right?
Yeah.
He missed the part where love. But here's the reality. He doesn't know what it is. This is what I know. He doesn't know what love is. He has no idea. And so, but he acted a certain way. So for me, it was the day of our wedding. Excuse me. He completely changed. Dating, I didn't see any warning signs. I've gone over it millions of times. I walked down that aisle with no worries. And the moment we had we said, I do, he didn't even wait to the end of the day to be a complete a-hole to me. Like, I was
just like that.
Who are you? Like, what? I'm like, he must really be stressed. Right. And so, yeah, they never break their own stuff. They only break my stuff or the kids' stuff. He'd kick things across the room. It was never his stuff. So there's a level of consciousness going on. Right. So they keep you to themselves. You don't have money outside of them. You don't have control. And so to leave is really hard. It's really hard to leave. These women are rock stars that they actually left.
And are there.
Because the fear of him figuring out that you left, and then what if he finds you, and then what? Now he's going to be really mad. Because now it's going to be obvious that he's not a good guy, because most of the people around me didn't know what was going on. They thought he was amazing. I went to the church and I sat with 12 men. 12 men, no women leaders in the church. It goes to show you something. No. And I sat with 12 men and I explained my story, and they were blown away. They had no idea. And they're like, he's crying. He's so upset. I'm like, it's an act. It's an act. I said, do you not think that if I had loving arms to run into, I wouldn't be running right now into those arms? Do you think I want to raise 2 kids by myself? Right. Trust me, this is not real any more than what you thought was happening before was real. Right?
Mm-hmm. I was just sitting here thinking, I keep going back and forth between what we're talking about and seeing visions of next Saturday. And I just saw one where I already know it's going to be very emotional between you and the mothers, the women. And I see us, the rest of us, getting the kids off to do fun things so they don't panic or get triggered when they see their mothers get emotional, because I have a feeling it's going to be a 2-way street between you and them. What have you been envisioning about how you're going to help pour into these women and children? What have you been shown? Do you have any idea? Am I on point at all about we should have activities for the kids separately so you
I
can
can see that. Yeah, I can see that happening for sure. I hadn't gone that far in my head. I know we are so in alignment with where we're supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like the universe is going to just orchestrate everything.
Yeah.
And that sounds smart. That sounds very conscious and amazing. And what I'm excited about what I'm going to share. I'm excited about some tools I'm going to give them and the kids, the parents and the kids, so that together they can control their emotions and they can deal with the pain and get it out. I didn't know these things. I didn't know how to do it. I kept most of it in, bottled it in, which is why it was so hard for me later. It took a long time because I was so strong. I was so strong, and I have wide shoulders. Crawl on top of my shoulders. I'll carry you. I was a tomboy. I played on men's soccer and hockey teams. I was freaking tough, right? And so that energy got me out. Yay.
Yeah.
And it also kept me hurting because I just swallowed everything. And I didn't know little tricks on shaking your body out when you've been in a trauma. Like literally just shaking it out can get rid of trauma, especially in that moment. If I can get the whole crowd shaking like crazy, it's going to heal so much. And then the 4 steps, the 4 steps to freedom, from fear to freedom. And I call it the diamond of freedom. And I'm going to teach them those 4 steps. And
What are those? What are those 4 steps?
You know what? I'm so glad you asked. If I was on a mountain and I had one thing to share with the world and I had the world's attention, this is what I would share. Honestly, this is how big it is. Because this is the moment of waking up. When you realize that you're in a crappy mood, when you're not feeling in a beautiful state, there's 2 states. You're either in a beautiful state or a crappy state, period. You're either crappy or happy. There is no fence. It's one or the other, right? And that moment of waking up, you stop being the zombie, which is the 95% subconscious that's running you. We are all 95% subconscious. That means we're only 5% conscious. It's like, hear me. These programs that you didn't ask for when you were a kid were put into you, and you're running on them now at whatever age you are. That's the truth. Unless you wake up and you realize that there's programs. So the moment you go, oh, I feel crappy, to keep it simple. I feel anxious. I feel frustrated. I feel sad. I feel mad. I feel fear, whatever. That's crappy, right? You wake up and you feel it for a minute. Like, okay, I feel it. And you don't make it right or wrong, good or bad. You just feel it. And then you got to move your body. You got to move your body. So you want to smile, because smiling is one of the first ways to be present. You're not in your messed up past or your projected messed up future. You're just smiling. Breathing. We don't breathe. We breathe shallow. We don't get oxygen. The body says you're dying because you almost are, because you're not breathing, right? That doesn't help in the midst of a hard time and you're not breathing as on top of it. And often we hold our breath. So just even breathing can help you in seconds. And then move, like running in place, even if that's all you can do. I used to go into the bathroom at work and run in place when I had really difficult people, grumpy people.
Yeah.
Like, I have to raise my frequency, right? So that I can help them raise their frequency. Yeah. And so that's what you do with your body. Then the next thing is you change your focus and you ask one question. And this is the rocket ship to joy. What am I thankful for? What am I thankful for? Because you cannot be scared and you cannot be angry and grateful in the same moment. You can't.
What do you, in your opinion, think will be your greatest challenge wherein it pertains to convincing these women that it can be better? It can, because I have a feeling you might hear some clues come out of somebody's mouth that is a sign that they're headed back, that they're questioning their decision. What do you feel is going to be that greatest challenge as far as convincing that healing is already here? It is already happening. It's not something that is going to magically appear once you're not in hiding. I don't know much about it, but it just seems like a natural, organic concern. So If you could talk about that a little bit, is that a thing or?
For sure. I just want to make sure I get all the points. So number three is change your story. What are you telling yourself? Because normally when we're in, if we feel shitty, we have shitty thoughts, right? So we have to change our thoughts. So normally we're saying, I'm not good enough. Life's hard. This always happens to me. Instead, you're like, no, that's not true. What's true is I'm doing the work. What's true is I'm figuring it out. What's true is the universe is going to bring me people and into my path. This is what's true, right? So you change the story, and then the fourth step is just to connect to the higher power, to connect to source, to connect to the quantum, and ask for help and know that you're not alone. So those are the four steps. You move your body, then you change your focus, then you change your story, and you connect to source. You can connect to source too, but when we're in a crappy state, sometimes we need to go around the diamond first and then end up at source. If you can go there first, that's a great thing. So those are the four steps. And then to answer your question, I am trusting God to help me in those moments to reach the ladies. My hallucination is my presence and my frequency and my confidence in what I speak about, and my physical presence in that I'm on the other side. I'm on the other side, and this is what I did. Because how many women do you actually know that have been through it and are on the other side?
What about cultural barriers? Just
Yeah.
like you had the church thing, I think that's a big bridge of connection. Even though they will think you're American because you sound American but I think you still have, your church thing is going to tie in with their cultural thing. Because have you looked into that at all? Like,
no, but I should now that
even matter.
it. That would be a good thing to do. Yeah, I'm going to do some research on that. I'm very intuitive. And I love culture. I've been to 62 countries. I literally studied culture in college. It's what I'm specialized in. I'm fascinated by it. And I'm not ever really jarred by it. I think, oh, there it is. That's neat.
Yeah.
They do that differently. But I think at our core, we are human.
Right.
And I think this subject in particular is really, it's really about at the core level of survival and protection of our children, period. And I don't think culture matters in that as much as much. Of course it factors in.
Final question. All About Amy. Ooh, that sounds like a book or a show. All About Amy. I might write that down. So, what are your hopes for yourself? I mean, is it possible that you're going to scrub a proverbial ring out of your own traumatic bathtub of domestic abuse that you may not at this point even be aware is still lurking around the tub? Are you open? Have you considered that perhaps, because within purpose, it, in most cases, I think in all cases, but I don't want to tell people what to do, but that it is a two-way feed.
Always.
Right.
This is for me too, of course.
Have you had any thoughts about what you hope to gain for yourself in your personal journey from this interaction with these people, these women and children, day one in Romania?
I think it just makes it all worth it even more. Like I already feel that, but even more, it's just like, yeah, this is why I went through it. This moment is why I went through it, so that I can look you in the eye and say, I got you. I understand. I have been there in one form or another. And I know how powerful that is. I've seen it over and over again. But yes, of course it's a healing. I mean, just talking with my kids about it, going to Romania. I mean, I put a little video together of their, speaking to the kids and how powerful that was.
It really was.
Today. And the healing that's I'm sure happening for them too, to be able to pay it forward in this way, in their way. I have no doubt that it's all happening and healing, and I just trust.
That's awesome. Tell everybody where they can go to not only find out more about your television show, Get Your Shit Together with Live with Amy Joy, or your wonderful book, same title.
Get your shit together.
Yes, and you're also in another book, the anthology. I believe it's Here Comes the Sun.
Yes.
Where can people go to find out all things Amy? What would be the best road?
Yeah, you go to Amy Joy Coaching, amyjoycoaching.com.
amyjoycoaching.com.
Or you can go to Amy Joy 360, and that has all my socials as well. But amyjoycoaching.com has all kinds of blogs there. And there's a free download for you of one of the chapters of my book. I would love, love, love for you to have that and to connect with you. I appreciate you.
That same here. We appreciate you. And listen, after you've done all that, been baptized and all the wonderful content that Amy Joy has available for you, we want you to keep your ears on and your eyes out, because just a couple of weeks after we return from Romania, we will be having a reunion show, a 90-minute television special, hearing from both sides of the equation, meaning Team Romania as well as Team USA and all roads in between, so that we can bring you the full circle of hope that we don't even know all the things that are going to happen, but we soon will. Amy, I want to thank you for joining us today. It's a blessing as always. Thank you so much for honoring all of us on this trip, on this mission. And we're so honored to have you with your experience culturally and just all of it. And thank you for being vulnerable and for opening up that wound again so that others can heal through that same space. So God bless you. Thank you. Say hello to Rudy for us, and Tate and Brendan, your boys. Let them know how proud we are of them. And next time we go anywhere, I hope that they can join us. But thank you so much. Okay. Well, there it is, you guys. Tomorrow, Frank Ivine is here with us. He's been here once or twice. He is in my alumni of Elevate Masterclass family. So he's going to be here tomorrow sharing with us what he's been doing since this time last year, when he donated 200 of his cookbooks to the Power of We Symposium, and the kids absolutely loved them. So we're going to find out what's up with Frank tomorrow. And then that is the last show of the week. And Monday, I'm bringing in my good friend and mentor, Jason Cisneros. It was going to be a rerun all the way through Wednesday until I come back on the 15th. But we are changing that up because we want to have a conversation about toxic communication via social media. It's going to be a big one. So mark your calendars for Monday. Amy, have a wonderful weekend. And I can't wait to see you next week on the ground.
I know. I'm so excited. Thank you for being you, Lauren. I love you so much.
Thank you. Wouldn't have it any other way. God bless you. Have a great one. And you guys do the same. And in closing, as I always say to you, get out there and be the very best you can be. And until you get to that place, know that I love you. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye. Thank you so much. Great job, Amy.
Thank you.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Oh, I'm standing right here holding up a sign.